All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we have some news to talk about regarding Hogwarts Legacy, including the confirmation that playable Quidditch is not coming to this game. Now, this news, of course, has received some mixed reception from fans who were hoping to get a playable Quidditch minigame. So we're going to break down that news, and I'm going to talk about my overall thoughts on the matter. We're also going to be talking about the system requirement news for the PC that have been revealed, which is either good news or it could be kind of concerning for some people. So we're going to go over all of that. After the common room reveal at the Back to Hogwarts event, we have some new details and other Easter eggs to outline. And lastly, I'm going to talk about some fan theories of whether or not Hogwarts Legacy will span across multiple years or if it's just going to be 1 year. We're going to go over that and so much more. So definitely do me a favor, guys, and stick around until the end of the video because you guys do not want to miss out. Guys, real quick, we are super close to 60,000 subscribers. If you've been enjoying my content over Hogwarts Legacy, Spider-Man 2, and the other games that I've been covering on this channel, do me a favor and drop a sub. Starting off, I'd like to talk about the news that has some fans a bit disappointed, and that is the lack of a Quidditch mode or mini game in Hogwarts Legacy. This has been one of the most requested features as of lately from fans, and while this news is a little bit unfortunate, I think that it's going to be better in the long run. So for those of you that don't really browse Twitter and really didn't see this news, according to the updated Hogwarts Legacy FAQ page, it says this, and I quote, so the FAQ question is Quidditch playable in Hogwarts Legacy? To which the answer is, Quidditch is not playable in Hogwarts Legacy. However, broom flight for traversal and broom race challenges are a part of the game. Players can also fly brooms to explore new and familiar locations surrounding Hogwarts Castle. Now, while I feel for people that were really looking forward to Quidditch in this game, I'd much rather have the developers focus on the story and gameplay. At the end of the day, it's a narrative-driven story game. So if it's not good in that regard, a Quidditch minigame really isn't going to make the experience much better. Now, sure, I would probably spend a lot of time playing the Quidditch minigame, and that would increase the replayability factor. But like what the FAQ page said, it's not like there's not going to be a reason to fly on a broomstick. It's just the main purpose of the brooms is for traversing the world and completing races. There's also the fact that we're going to Hogwarts, so we're going to have to learn to fly a broomstick eventually. So I really have no doubt that there's going to be plenty of broom action that we're going to be able to do in the game. So for that reason, I'm not really sure why there's much controversy. If anything, this should be an eye-opener to Warner Brothers Games to release a standalone Quidditch World Cup game. My ideal game after playing a bunch of Rocket League is like, I really wish this game was like Quidditch. If Warner Brothers Games released a Quidditch game that was free to play similar to Rocket League, then they would just have a bunch of downloads. I guarantee the entire Harry Potter and Wizarding World community would eat that game up. But with Hogwarts Legacy being a narrative-driven RPG, I would much rather not take away any of the development time from Hogwarts Legacy and the studio Avalanche. Could we see it in a future expansion or update? Possibly, but that's likely not going to happen. If anything, Warner Brothers should see the excitement about another Quidditch World Cup game and give us another game. For the next bit of news, I want to talk about the official system requirements for the PC version of Hogwarts Legacy. This is also an area that could be a little bit concerning that I want to talk about on the channel. As much as I'm really excited for Hogwarts Legacy, there is the fact that I want to stay as objective as possible and give you guys my full take on all of the news that we have, whether it's either good news or bad news. And that brings us to the biggest thing that's going to make or break this game on PC, and that is whether or not the game is optimized or not. And usually the system specs are a solid indication of how well this game performs and what components they recommend you use. Hogwarts Legacy is currently being built on the Unreal Engine 4, and with that information in mind, it really depends on how they optimize this game to determine whether or not it will be more GPU or CPU bound. Typically with Unreal Engine games, they can be quite CPU bound, but in others, they can be more heavy on the GPU side. I am super excited to see the Digital Foundry breakdown when the game launches because I always look forward to those. So first off, let's talk about the minimum requirements to run this game. For the processor, you're going to need an Intel i5 8400 or AMD Ryzen 5 2600. The memory requirements for minimum specs are 8 gigabytes of RAM and NVIDIA GTX 1070 or AMD RX Vega 56, and that is for 1080p 60 FPS on low settings and upscale in the performance setting. Now for the recommended system specs, the processor, you're going to need an Intel Core i7 8700 or AMD Ryzen 5 3600. Memory, they recommend at least 16 gigabytes of RAM. For the graphics card, they recommend a 1080 Ti or AMD RX 5700 XT, and that is for 1080p 60 FPS on the high quality setting with the upscale quality setting. Now overall, the system requirements seem to be a bit on the high end, which means a couple of things. Either this game is going to look absolutely incredible when it launches, like what we've seen in the other gameplay videos or trailers, or it's going to be unoptimized, which could have been the reason for the delay of 6 months. It's also worth mentioning that they could be focusing less of the development time on the PC version to ensure that the console version goes smoothly, especially with PlayStation collaborating with Warner Bros. In the marketing of this game. The PS5 will be getting some DualSense options that are pretty cool, as well as an exclusive quest and the Felix Felicis potion recipe, and I'm sure there's other stuff that's to be announced, but either way, Hogwarts Legacy is probably going to play super good on the PlayStation 5 if you do own one. I'm sure that's probably one of the reasons why Sony has forked out some money to ensure that this game goes right on the PS5. I would also be very curious to see if Hogwarts Legacy is being ported to PC by a different developer like other game studios have done. There's always the nightmare of a game studio that's developing a game on PlayStation or Xbox, and then a completely different studio ports the game to PC. So I definitely want to know if the PC port is being outsourced or if the development is also being done by Avalanche. My biggest concern is Hogwarts Legacy releasing and it being an unoptimized mess. We've seen this happen time and time again with extremely hyped games like Cyberpunk 2077's launch, an overall great game that was overshadowed by how unoptimized it was. If in a couple months time the developers think that Hogwarts Legacy isn't where they want it to be at, by all means they can delay the game again. I really don't mind. Fans of the wizarding world like myself want this game to be as perfect as possible, so take all of the time you need. Moving on, I want to talk about a potential theory on whether or not Hogwarts Legacy will have multiple school years, or if the story is going to span across just 1 year of school. Now, as much as it would be really cool for this game to take place across multiple years, doing 1 year of school in itself is quite the undertaking. At the end of the day, this game is going to be a story-driven game, so if it's constantly switching years, it would be very difficult for players to truly connect with the story. I've seen people correlate the different seasons of the game to it being spanned across multiple years, but I think it could be put simply, as the story progresses in the game, so does the rest of the year. If we go back to school in September, it's going to be the fall. It's not like it's going to be summer in game time. That just wouldn't really make sense at all. Look at games like The Last of Us. It takes place across multiple seasons, and even just look at the source material in Harry Potter. One book takes place across 1 year of school, so that's how it's going to be for Hogwarts Legacy. Now, as much as I'd love to see it and it might be cool, but I just really don't see that happening. If anything, this sets us up for a full series of games based on our character at Hogwarts. Hogwarts Legacy sequel confirmed? Question mark. Next up, I want to talk about the common room reveal videos that we got during the Back to Hogwarts event, and I just gotta say, the attention to detail, Easter eggs, and other references showcased in these videos are absolutely amazing. Easily the best part is how the developers are taking the details described in the books rather than the common rooms from the movies. All of the attention to detail and stuff that we've seen thus far is only going to improve the immersion and really make us feel like we're at Hogwarts in a living and breathing world. Now, along with that video, we also got the news that you can choose your house and wand for Hogwarts Legacy right now. As detailed in the video, you just need to link your Wizarding World account with your WB Games profile, and you can literally port over the house and wand you previously chose a while ago and have that reflect your in-game character. By doing that, you'll receive in-game items based on the house and wand that was linked. I don't know if you guys remember, but this was a feature that I spoke about in a previous video, and I'm really glad that it's actually happening. But yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up with this video. As the days and weeks go by, we're gonna get even more news regarding Hogwarts Legacy, and I cannot wait to share it all on this channel. So do me a favor, if you have not already, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 60k subs, so definitely do that. Turn your notifications on, like the video, and comment your thoughts on Hogwarts Legacy. Are you concerned about the optimization of this game, or do you think it's going to be perfectly fine? Let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks again for watching this video, guys. This has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys again soon.